right, this is the EDC, January 29th. We'll start off with just approving some minutes. I sent them around about a week ago. I don't know if anybody read or had any issues, but...
You need a copy? Here's the copy.
Yeah,
I
okay.
make a motion to approve. I make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I guess I should have just...
Just stay there.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yep. All right. So, we have 3 potential new candidates. We have 1 open spot on the EDC. 3 candidates.
Thanks.
If, you know, it's good to meet all 3 and, we'll, you know, we can decide on when to fill a spot, and if anybody, you know, if anybody wants to step down, but if there's still 2 spots, you know, it's nothing against adding more people, you know, to the grade, you know, just increasing the number, so. I never met you before.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to just come a little forward and just tell us who you are, and I guess just while you move forward, so, you know, I'll just tell you a bunch of things that we just do kind of quickly since we have a kind of full agendas. You know, we work on marketing and helping with, you know, that type of stuff with current businesses. We work on trying to figure out ways to fill vacant space, you know, any way that we can help connect the businesses to the community is kind of things we do. We did like the Welcome to Bolton sign. We had businesses sponsor that, the Wreath Project, but then all the way to like starting to talk about, you know, how Bolton's branded and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a million different directions that the EDC can go, and as much time and effort you want to put into it. We do, we have a pretty good presence on social media. We've been, you know, writing articles, Welcome to Bolton Welcome to Bolton articles, trying to introduce.
EDC website is up. We did a pamphlet last year for the town.
Yeah, we did a brochure. I don't know if you saw it or not, but more new people means more ideas and more people can do stuff. So I don't know if you guys can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start, I guess. Sean Searle, I moved to Bolton about 1.5 years ago with my wife. Just really looking for ways to get more actively engaged in the community. You know, town politics is something that really interests me, and specifically in regards to the EDC committee, it seems like a really great way to get more actively engaged, you know, connecting, meeting more people within the community as well. But at the same point, I think there's a lot of opportunity that Bolton has. I know I hear a lot of residents, you know, that the taxes are high, we need to figure out ways to bring those down. It's nothing that anyone here hasn't heard, but I think there are unique ways that Bolton can really be enticing to some of those businesses, and I'm sure you guys have been working diligently to try to bring in additional business, but I think maybe I could offer maybe some unique perspectives. My background isn't necessarily in, you know, economic development. I'm an engineer, but with that, I do have some new problem-solving skill sets, and in regards to kind of innovative solutions, I think that's something that I might be able to bring. So
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Scott Pannington. Been here for about 4 years now. Live with my wife and 2 kids. And similarly, just looking to get involved in the community. It's a wonderful town. I think there's a lot of potential. And for me, this is really entry level. So learning about what the needs are of the town, how it can be helpful. When I'm out here, I work in Boston at the Cambridge Innovation Center. And so similar mindset. We help small startup companies grow, hopefully move out and make space for new ones. So I'm hoping to apply some of that energy to the town that I live in.
Great. Is there one more? Or is there
He wasn't available to come.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So yeah, like I said, we do have 1 spot, but we can easily ask for more people,
Sure.
or if somebody's, you know, we have 11 people, so it's good to, you know, if somebody's tired of doing it and wants to step down, so, you know, I'm sure we can make it work. If we have people willing to help out and want to be involved, we'll make sure that they're involved. It's not like, you know, selecting a planning board where there's a set number and the bylaw and everything, you know, so we can make it happen.
Great.
So I guess just stick around and just jump right in when you want to jump in.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so I said Wreath Project wrap up. Did the wreaths are down now?
They should be, yeah.
Yeah.
They should be.
I typically stay away from 117 actually, because I live on the Harvard line, so I always go.
Yeah,
No.
no, I talked to DPW and they were gonna do it, they already had it on their schedule actually to
Yeah.
take them down.
Yeah.
So they should be done.
Yeah. And I guess this part is that.
Mark, I just want to say a special thanks for getting this up for us.
Yeah, thank you
You're
so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, they came out great.
Yeah, they really did.
Is this like extra?
That's all for you, Amy. Actually, there's 2 up there.
You can see that.
Want to sit up here?
I'm good.
I have to leave a little early, so I don't want to be like, make a spectacle on myself.
Me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark, and for your business resources, for putting those up. Along with this topic, Karen Regan actually can't come tonight, but a while back, we had been talking about banner brackets and everything like that, because, Parks and Rec and Bolton Loco is working on the Hometown Heroes program, which is a family or somebody will sponsor a veteran, a banner for a veteran, so she wants to hang them up in the town center, and she picked out these brackets that are about $40 each. They're actually like 2 horizontal poles.
Yeah.
Did you get the link, or?
Oh, yeah, I sent over that link a long time
Yeah.
ago to you guys. So.
They look like they're pretty easy to affix, they don't look too bad, but it's about $40 each. So we've been charging businesses for the wreaths $30 a piece, but we've been getting them for less than that. So we've actually accrued, I think this is the latest number, it's like $1,800.
It's a fundraiser that we have every year. I think this year we raised about $630. Last year
Yeah.
we have remaining $1,200 left.
Yeah, so the wreath is kind of like an adopt a pole sort of thing.
Yeah, we have.
And it's a way to raise money for our expenditures. Plus we also get $1,000 from the town too, that we blew.
Well, that's our budget.
Yeah.
But this is
Yeah, this is
specific for
separate,
this.
yeah.
So after paying for the
Yeah.
race and the bows, we should have about, and then including your check, we should probably have about $13.50.
Oh, $13.50, okay. Oh, this was before.
That was before I paid Bolton Orchards for the,
Okay. So she was saying it was $40 each. I don't see, I mean, do we need to leave reserves, or can we just, so we voted previously to put this money towards that, and then she would said that, I talked to her, she said that they would, I would give her a list of businesses over the past 3 or 4 years that donated to build that up, and, just use that as like the thank you list.
my recommendation would be to hold whatever it costs for the wreaths and bows, just in case we don't get the number of donations we've been getting, just to
Okay,
cover
so
ourselves for
save
next year.
600.
Yeah,
that
I would
makes
save,
sense.
I would save
Yeah.
like $500
Yeah,
just
I
to
agree.
be, just to
Yeah.
be safe.
Yeah.
So then that would be like $850, which is what, like 20, yeah. So that should be good.
No, I mean, if anything, last time I talked to, it's Karen, right?
Yeah.
Last time I talked to Karen, which was a while ago, we were trying to figure out an exact number that she would need for these banners, and she was still trying to figure it out, but we came up with a general idea of like 10 to try it out, 8 to 10.
Yeah. I
So
think
that's
she's
not a lot of
right.
money, but bear in mind that those are only for certain times of the year. The next step that we had as the EDC was we wanted to engage the community and actually buy some of the banners ourselves and put them up for the town.
Yeah,
So that's another effort that we're going to need to kick off in addition to.
yeah, hold the money back for that,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
'cause we were
should-
talking about
should
like
cut
Happy
that out.
Holiday.
I would,
You're gonna
Hometown
leave-
Heroes is great, and she's running with that, but, the Happy Holidays, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
ones,
exactly, yeah.
All those ones, the Labor Day ones and things like that was kind of our focus on this, to bring some.
But we can talk about that later, we're just talking about buying brackets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those
So-
are-
So anyway, so as it stands, so I can tell her that we can dedicate $850 to it.
That's.
Whatever the committee is.
I think that's a lot.
Can we just have like a motion on that so we can set the number in stone, and then?
I'm not sure if I want to earmark a total of 800. I'd rather, if the brackets are $40 a piece, then we're
Yeah.
gonna sort of, well, I guess she didn't give us a new exact number, did she?
And how many do we need?
Well, we do 400, because $40 a bracket,
Yeah,
she
exactly,
has 10
4.
brackets, that's
Let's say
400 for
450
now.
with
Hold on,
tax.
she's,
450.
hold on one second, she
Oh,
said she was
no
gonna send
tax.
me an
No
email.
It's all-
tax? Okay.
No tax, because it's gonna be it's a town thing.
So she sent me an email, here's our email exchange with Lynn James. So number of polls, we originally targeted 22 polls, but already have 20 plus veterans who want to participate.
All right, so we need 20, okay.
Bolton Fire Association is
Alright.
managing the finances
Okay,
for our
that's-
fundraising. Oh, so she's using the Fire Association for the, if you donate, you can, for taxes purposes probably. The type of bracket recommendation by advisor and Lemonster is the hurricane bracket, they're about $40 each.
Yeah.
The banner size will be 5 feet by 2.5 feet, made of 17 by 20 ounce vinyl. There'll be no sponsorship included on the banners, but we will host a page on our website to promote those who help make the program a success. Tentatively targeting 7:15 for the dedication.
Okay.
So,
So why don't we just make a motion?
Yeah,
I make a
800,
motion
yeah.
that we approve the purchase of 20 brackets.
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds good.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that's it for that, I think. She was gonna come in and kind of show it, but I think she couldn't make it at the last minute. But that's fine. She might come in another time to show what
Yeah.
the banners look like and stuff, and it might give us some ideas for what we want to do in the future.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so EDC website updates.
No.
So I talked to, I actually talked to Lisa about the training, and she said that we just have to email, I forget the woman's name, but she handles kind of the train, that kind of aspect of it, and they can do it online. So I know that I wanted to do it, and Rick wanted to do it, and I think Amy, you wanted to be involved in learning the website stuff too? Or no? I don't know. Oh, maybe it was Larissa.
Larissa did, yeah,
Oh,
WordPress.
Larissa.
Okay, yes, sir.
It's funny, I'm actually doing WordPress at work now for our company website.
So I guess between you, me, and
Yeah.
Larissa, if anybody else is interested too, and Chris, were you interested now? If anybody else was interested to have kind of the training, they should give out like the past, how to get into it and
Yeah, yeah.
dance your way into the tool and stuff. And then we could start adding, stories on there. And I know there's a growing list of updates we need to make as well.
I think we, has anyone figured out if we're gonna do a story on provisions yet?
Story on.
I did.
Oh, she did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, is it already up on the site, or?
It's on Facebook.
Okay, great, I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't liked it in a while.
I've been
Very,
trying to
very
contact-
well viewed.
I've been trying to contact, that cleaners or whatever, there's nothing even in that place yet.
Yeah.
When-
I heard that they were gonna open in March, but I just walked out of the building and,
It's like, there's no way they're opening,
No.
would you say?
maybe April.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll get with them, but I haven't been able to connect with anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe a while, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I'd love to get the update, the blog kind of thing that we have on the EDC website kind of.
yeah, so I definitely envision, like I said, I think stories would present better on Facebook if you're linking the website anyway,
Yep,
because when you put it all on Facebook, it gives you a couple of sentences and it says read more, and I don't know that necessarily everybody does that. Maybe just the link to the website, and then you'd also be pushing people to the website, because I view the metrics of the website, and there's not tons of traffic.
right, no, there's not.
But there's nobody driving, there's nothing driving it there, so
Correct.
Facebook would definitely drive people
I
there.
agree, yep.
Everybody that's talked to me about the website, I know I went to advisors for the brochure, everybody says it looks amazing, so everybody's
It's a
very
nice
happy.
website.
Yeah.
Lisa did a really good job.
I guess just to plug it, it's destinationboltonmass.com.
Yeah.
Oh, destinationboltonma.com.
Yeah, it's a nice website.
So you guys should check it out.
We just launched it, so.
But I know some of the pictures are starting to get old already, so.
I don't know about all, they look pretty good to me.
Well, I'm just saying, it'd be nice to have like more seasonal updates and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Instead of it being static.
Yeah.
If you make it a little more dynamic, maybe people
Well,
will
we
come
can,
around.
if we can add a lot, Lisa even said we could add a lot more pictures to it.
Yeah.
So.
In the slideshow and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. She said we can add tons of pictures.
Yeah.
So,
And I know that Erica Ewing of Ewing Photography is slowly like kind of doing a business kind of project on her, on the side, and she said that we could, she would share pictures with us to post on the
Oh,
website
that's
and everything.
great.
Just,
yeah.
just to note that it's hers, but I think that's it for that. Welcome sign update, maintenance fee and discussion. So I think last I heard, most people had given the $50 besides one or two.
Yeah, there were two businesses that I still need to reach out to again.
What's up with the welcome sign maintenance fee?
So when we first did it, we said it was $50 a year.
Yeah.
Well, it was an initial cost up front, which I forget, was it 500?
It was 500 for the businesses and for the,
$50 a year, right? You were.
for maintenance, yeah. And then the AgCom at the time had used part of their budget, so I think for the farms it was like 250.
And I know last time we had our meeting too, Chris was supposed to be, I think tasked with trying to find someone to sort of maintain the property. around
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna get started here Are we at that point in the agenda yet?
Yeah, we're on it.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is, if you could hook me up with that supplier who made the sign, and just so I can get involved with them and try to learn about what they do and what the costs are. The plan from there would be to do some sort of a mock-up, maybe a Photoshop of the sign in front of the wall, because we have to get selectmen approval, right?
What is, so you just want to put a little sign saying maintained by so-and-so?
Maybe a little bit bigger than little, but yeah, this area maintained by, and could be a landscaping company, we need to discuss that. Could also be any company who wants to fork over the money and I'll just find a
So you're saying
landscaper.
you want that sign company just to have like, you don't want like a little rinky-dink kind of,
No,
you want it to look
I want it
nice,
to look like
kinda
it matches the big
same
sign behind
family,
the
yeah.
wall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that company's fairly expensive, so I don't know.
Yeah, plus they're in Australia. Just
Actually,
the shipping fees are gonna kill us.
no, they're not that bad, guys.
I'm
They're way cheaper than a US-based
You
company.
guys bid it out, didn't you?
Yeah, they're extremely cost-effective.
Okay, well, I guess the sign was expensive, but if it was here, it probably would have been a lot more expensive.
It would have
So-
been quadruple the cost.
So, I mean, that makes sense, and,
But
you know.
but ideally, it'd be a sign in front of the wall, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
get selectmen approval for that. So what I'll try to Photoshop it, show you what it would look like in front of the wall. And if you guys are okay with it, then we'll figure out how to bring it to the selectmen and see if they can approve. But ideally, it would be something like, this area maintained by, and that would be a permanent part of the sign. And below it would be a part you could remove and change, would be the company who pays for that,
Yeah,
or does the landscaping.
There's a gentleman that lives in my
So Chris, let me
development.
just understand, so the maintenance is to, because the sign's gonna depreciate over time, so the maintenance is really just a fund in the event that at some point that sign needs to be replaced, whereas this will be just the annual clean up the leaves,
Yeah.
clean up
More,
kind of.
hopefully, I was kind of envisioning a bidding process where, let's just stay with landscapers for now and in the area, not just in Bolton, because that's a small group. Here's what we'd like to do, here's what the sign's gonna look like, your name could be on it, especially coming down 495 South and stopping at that light, you're gonna get a lot of exposure with that sign in front. So, we'd like X amount of dollars to, as a yearly fee, much like with the big sign, and tell us what you're going to do with that area. In other words, a boxwood here, a boxwood there, a couple of annuals, because, Erica mentioned it's gonna plowed under by snow in the winter, so you don't wanna spend too much money. It'd be great if the landscaper said, I'll do these things every year, plus give you $50, and another landscaper might offer more, and we kind of bid it out that way.
sounds fine. Yeah, that sounds good.
Do we still have Larissa's list of all the businesses in Bolton? I'm just curious how many of them are landscapers.
Well, I mean, it's not Larissa's list, but yeah, we can get it for you. There is a few.
There's an extra, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can send me that and the sign URL.
There's a gentleman that lives in my development that owns an engineering and landscaping company, and I know he does the comments for us for free.
Yeah.
So I can probably put you in touch with him too, this right to the road from there.
Well, I don't want to get into a situation where, we're picking and choosing people we know, because I think this is going to be a really attractive opportunity for people, and I want to be kind of above board and let as many people who want to bid on it, rather than, just have the landscaper come up later and say, why did they get the job? Why did they get all that publicity?
Yeah, I think it's good to start with the Bolton ones. So, I'll
So
send it to you.
there are several of them, or?
I'm sure there's a few, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's several.
There's several in Bolton.
Okay.
So are
I
we
can only think of
envisioning,
Happy Grass, because they're near me.
are we envisioning a permanent sign or a sign that can be taken out during the winter when they plow?
It would, based on your advice, it would come out during the winter.
Oh, okay,
What I'm
perfect.
envisioning is sort of like 2 pipes in the ground.
Yeah.
And then you sink the sign in there in springtime and
You're done.
the landscaper
Perfect.
does it, right?
Yep, perfect.
And in the fall, and early winter, he pulls it out.
Like the
And
size
next
of,
year, if he pays-
like the size of a political sign or something, roughly.
Yeah, actually, maybe a little, maybe not as tall. maybe.
Yeah, I think more, right,
He said
long,
more horizontal,
elongated.
yeah.
but just because of the number of words, and we don't want
Yeah.
like a rambling sort of
Yeah.
paragraph there.
But the point is, we're gonna have someone who maintains it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The process, so that's
Yeah.
really how we need to.
Yeah, so they'll come out in the spring, they'll put their sign in that they paid for, and plant some annuals and keep it mowed and keep the weeds down and all that stuff. And then,
You would
December
point
they'll
out this
come out,
time.
they'll pull their sign out, they'll put 2 plugs in the pipe so it doesn't get you know,
With junk.
sand and
Yeah,
junk
oh
and
yeah, that's a good idea. Can take one there.
rinse and repeat next year.
Sounds good. So while we're on the sign, what's the deal with the second sign? Are we gonna try to put that up, or are we
Yeah,
just?
every meeting we talk about it, nothing happens.
Yeah.
We need either some funds to pay for someone to put it up, or we need to find someone to volunteer and put it up.
But so are we
Kind
able
of
to
where
put
we're
it up
at.
there?
What's that?
We're able to put it, so where exactly, where
I
do you
don't
guys
even
envision
have
it
the
going?
sign at this point. I think it's still at the winery. I'd have to contact Rich
Didn't,
Pelletier.
I
and
thought
Maybe
some-
Helene has it, but
I think
I
Helene
think
might
Rich
have it.
still has it.
I thought somebody only grabbed it, but,
I
anyway.
have it.
But we're, so, in relation to the signs, the signs are up, where exactly would it be going?
So where the existing signs are, but there's like the light, and then there's like the electrical box or something, that some type of utility box that's there. It's like right there.
Mhm.
That's
It's where
it
the,
is.
like the sign for the golf course.
Yeah, where all
Slater,
those little
Come on,
signs.
highway.
exactly.
They're all
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
messy,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I think it's leading this way, one's that way.
Right.
It's really, first impressions are everything.
So I noticed like Slater's has a sign there.
Yeah,
There's like a hospital sign or
the
something.
golf course has.
Isn't there like a
one.
hospital sign?
I don't know.
There's like an H, I thought.
Could be.
That's hospital,
Oh,
right?
that's Mass Highways. I don't know
Oh.
that we would mess with that,
Yeah.
but the, like the local business signs we would take down.
Yeah.
Is there anyone locally you think we can ask to do it for free? Out of the goodness of their
Did Bob
heart?
Romer do it?
It's a difficult site because of the bedrock.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So you can't just,
Well,
you know.
maybe Bob Romer would just go look at it and see.
I can talk
He'd
to
look at us, and
DPW again.
he told us that he could,
He
there's some
probably,
specialized
I mean, he
equipment
did all
and-
the bracing work for the current sign.
Yeah, he did a great job
He
too.
did a
Yeah,
really
I saw
good job,
them.
yeah.
I know he has,
Considering one of the year before and it was sinking, he just jumped right in and took care of it for
Yeah.
nothing, which is
Yeah.
very generous of him.
should I contact Bob, if you wanna contact him?
it's up to you.
Just to get, I guess I'll contact him and copy you, and just to
Sure.
kinda see if he could get a scope of the job,
Sure.
and then,
That would be great.
so what do we have on the fund now, $500?
Do you want me to also talk to DPW?
Sure, yeah, I mean, if they'll do it.
I mean, they originally didn't have the equipment. I assume they probably still don't have the equipment, but with the new DPW director, let me at least reach out to him and get his
Fine.
input.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have what, $500?
We have 400 because I'm still
400.
trying to collect
Okay.
the other 100.
And then that could all go towards putting up that second sign.
Yeah, good.
It would be awesome to have that sign there and then get rid of all the same issue we had at the other one.
I think the other unknown is what Kane will eventually do with their property behind it.
Right, but
Yeah.
I mean,
But I mean, we
it could
can't
be
obviously
years.
plan for
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
It'll have to be part of that process. When they do something with it, they'll have
Yeah,
to
they'll have
make
to
provisions for the
accommodate for
sign
it.
that's there.
well, I mean, because it's not, I mean, it's highway property anyway, so, I mean, they'll have to work out
Right.
something with them anyway.
Right.
I think that curb cut was gonna be way further down there anyway, or something they were talking about.
I don't know because the light's right there. So
Is
you wanna
that
line
family
up
ready
with
to
the
talk
light.
to us yet, or
They
no?
allow them to go across, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I talked to him, sure. I'd be willing to talk to anybody.
I actually talked to David King today,
Oh.
coincidentally, about something else, because he had a question on the gas station, but, so I had told him that EDC, that we were interested in setting up meetings with, you know, these landowners, about the mixed-use village overlay district, and then some of the, changes that are coming to the bylaw, potentially at town meeting, and he was like ecstatic about
Alright.
changing the 8% to 20%, or
Of course.
20%.
I mean, they would
Because he
want-
said, he thought that was the big, because I asked him, like, well, what's been the hurdle? And he's like, that 8% coverage. And I'm like, it's funny that you'd say that. So
gonna
he
get-
is
Are we
very,
close
I'm
to
getting-
passing that, or?
I don't know, you tell me, you guys are the ones who vote on it. I'm presenting it, or the planning
There
board's
was
presenting it.
another family member who was also at your planning board who's aware of that 20%.
Oh, really?
coverage, yeah.
Yeah,
so he was more than happy to, you know, once we figure out when we want to meet, he said he'd be happy to come and talk and,
I think it'd be great if we sat down with them, because I'd like to help them figure out what we can do with the property and work with them.
yeah, so I plan to talk about that after, but the amount of value we're gonna be adding to the business property is, it's like what? It's almost 300%,
Yeah, that's fine.
whatever,
he also sort of,
250%.
it sounded like they may already have some plans.
That's what we need
Well,
to
they've
work
been
with them more
working
closely,
I didn't
because
ask
they always get
them
these
specific-
plans and
I
it
was
never
so busy,
happens,
I didn't ask them
because.
specific, but it sounded like they already have like maybe what they want to do for next
Well,
steps, so.
So what I mean, we'll get to
Uh-huh.
this after a little bit, I just, while we're talking about it, I asked Erica to try to proactively set up meetings with these landowners, just with Erica, Don Lowe, maybe a couple of us. maybe a board, a selectman, kind of like a landing committee to go talk to the biggest landowners to, see what's going on, let them know what can the town do to get you to develop this land.
Do you think we should wait until after town meeting though? Because I'd really like to be able to
You don't want
sit
to make
down and-
promises, yeah.
I kind of want to be able to sit down with them and say, hey, look, we modified this, like, I don't know.
I mean,
It's up to
at
you,
least,
but-
at least contact them and say, we want to have this meeting, we have these proposed bylaws going, start the contacting them and say, hey, maybe we can meet after May or something to,
Mhm.
once we know exactly what the landscape will look like.
And we're
So this
happy
is
to
gonna-
meet during the summer too, I don't care.
Yeah, for sure.
This is gonna
Is
be.
there any
our-
potential that if, when you're
Yeah.
selling that bylaw, if you have some potential people who are going to buy in with the really good things that the town wants and add tax revenue and
That's
all
true
that
too.
to make a
Yeah.
sale? Because right now, you're selling air, right now.
A PDF slide.
Sometimes
Yeah.
when you're selling intangibles, Eric, and you're at town meeting,
Yeah, that's
you
fine.
can get buried into the, trust me. I've been
And if the
there long
value of the
enough to
land
know.
goes up, like you say, it's
You can
going
sell
probably to
something
go up
real
considerably, like you said, like you
that
just
everybody
said,
would
I mean,
like.
that also increases tax revenue.
It could be
Well,
like a
let's just,
slam
It'd be a
dunk.
windfall.
Let's get there. Let me go through the agenda.
Yeah, wishful thinking.
So I think we're done with I just want to continue down the path, so
Fairly well.
we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
So on the second sign, we'll talk to Bob and DPW to see. Okay. Social media update, we'll continue to putting, I'm sharing whatever business, every time a business puts out something, and if I catch it, I try to share it. It gets really good views. Amy's been huge in writing stories for Welcome to Bolton kind of stories, which hopefully will get onto the website when we do it. Some other stories, for the website, I think I told you, Amy, is I would like to, Delta Equity. Is this Delta Equity, right?
Bolton Capital Group.
Bolton Capital. I always want to say Delta.
Old
Bolton-
what?
Bolton Cap
Capital
Group, yeah.
I mean, they're not new,
Yeah, they're,
but what he's done to that property is amazing, and, anything that we can publicize about that would be
Who
awesome.
would be did you give me the
Ray
con?
Grenier, I
Yeah.
think I did.
I think you
Yeah,
did.
that's right.
But, and if you haven't, been- we had our business breakfast there
A couple years ago.
4 or 5 years ago, and the inside of that barn is amazing. Have you been in
Is
it?
that
Oh,
the
yeah.
white,
What?
that's the white?
Yeah, but down here.
I'd love to see the inside of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we have a farmhouse, so
Yeah.
yeah.
You turn the barn into offices.
Yeah.
If they're, it's really nice.
You can have like a wedding reception there.
Yeah.
They're really nice,
Yeah.
yeah.
Does he do that or no?
No, but he could.
Yeah.
We should, I mean, you have, like, it's multiple tiers, like balconies, and
Yeah.
it's opened up from the floor to the top.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
awesome.
nice.
Yeah. Okay, definitely.
So I think that would be good.
And maybe they can do our Bolton business breakfast this year, leading to
Well,
breakfast.
we had that like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, just wondering, where do we do it this year?
Okay, well, let's jump to that. So, I don't know if everybody, I want to have the breakfast before Erica leaves, which is when?
To be determined, but my due date is April 13th.
That's aggressive.
So we typically had it the end of April. We had it, I think, not
June
till the
last
middle.
year.
No, we had it in May.
Was it May or June this past year?
It's always been like
Felt like it
end
was
of
late
April.
this year.
I'd like to have it before you left.
Yeah.
It's good to have you there.
Yeah, sure.
So that means early April,
Mhm.
and it's January, end of January.
It's totally doable, we just need to make a decision on where you want it and we can start planning for it.
So we always say Slater's and then always back off and go somewhere else. But I know Bruce would be happy to have it. The question we were talking about is having like a after hours thing, but I'm not sure if how that would work, with his business,
If it's after hours later, you can have it outside, not in the outside
Or if
space.
it's after hours.
Oh, we can have it in
Is it
his
Monday?
outside space, but then it's kind of early in the year, maybe a little cold.
Yeah,
so-
that's what I'm saying. If it's later in the year, it wouldn't be so bad. Yeah,
Is it Monday? He's closed on Mondays?
I think so,
Big-
yeah.
Oh, if you could open on
Closed,
Monday.
Yeah.
He's closed. Yes, he is closed on Mondays because I drove there.
Because it's always
I forgot
mainly
that.
when you want to go there, yeah.
Yes.
So that's one question, whether we do another breakfast, or if we want to do an after hours thing.
I'm thinking after hours would be different.
I know Paul Matthews from 495 Metro West was like, doing after hours. He was all got home about having drinks and.
I know every time he talks, he's like, oh, I wish I had a beer or something. Yeah. So I think that's great. Maybe.
Is this more of like a social thing than the breakfast? Like
I think it's the same
Could
thing.
be.
Well, we'll still have speakers, but instead of eggs, there'll be alcohol.
a lot more lively conversation.
There was one eggs and economics that was very well attended.
That was
Portuguese
great.
club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to that, yeah.
So I don't know that you can say whether, I mean, clearly I think if you've got a crowd that wants to socialize, then clearly you're gonna do it after 5 o'clock, but it depends on what
Well,
the
we always do
topic
the morning,
is
and it does well.
and, you know, what you're gonna present to people.
So the economics thing was attended by Jay Ash, right? And-
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And he was quite a
He draws
draw
a
in
lot of
himself.
people, yeah.
Yeah, and that's my point. It depends upon what your
Yeah.
goal is.
So who do we want to present? 'Cause
Well, so I always ask Kate Hogan, and she usually can't do it because of it's budget season. But maybe if we're doing it earlier, she's not going to be tied up for that. So maybe we should ask Kate, and then we ask Dean Tran too, since he was just elected. He might be willing.
Actually, I'm meeting, Don Lowe's meeting with Tran February 5th. And he
Okay.
invited me to the meeting, so I can bring it up.
Oh yeah, definitely. So one of those, if we can get one of those, and if we got one of them,
Mhm.
it would probably bring good attendance. Paul Matthews is always good, and then
How many do you want? 2? I mean, typically we've been
Yeah,
doing
2.
like 2 speakers,
Mhm.
but,
yeah, that'd be good.
so, okay, because we can always invite Paul, but he doesn't necessarily have to do a presentation. He can.
Yeah, if he just wants to show up, that's fine.
It's up to you guys, however you want to.
Should start with Kate and Dean,
Okay,
and then work our way back.
okay.
So if we target early April, I don't know if late March is too quick.
Yeah, maybe early April.
But I definitely prefer you to be there.
Why don't I first reach out to the speakers and see what their schedules are, and then we
Yeah.
can kind of go around that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And did we decide on breakfast, or, I'm
I don't
sorry,
think we decided.
we haven't?
Yeah, I'm, either one is fine with me. I really don't.
Yeah, same thing.
I think everyone's probably.
Make it really late at night, and then we can do breakfast the next morning too.
There you go.
Maybe breakfast would work better for
Most
Slaters.
people, yeah.
You know, just in terms of his business and,
Well,
Right.
not if you do Monday night though, because
Yeah, let's see if Bruce is willing to do
Monday
Monday
night is
night. See if he's willing to do it. He would only need, one bartender type person and somebody on the oven. But I don't know if he'll want to get everything fired up on Monday or not. We can ask him.
I think last year we were targeting a Monday and he was fine with it.
For breakfast.
For breakfast, yes.
And does he doesn't do this gratis, right? He does.
No, we paid him $600 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
we will be paying him $600.
Yeah, for some reason we didn't ever pay him.
And it never got paid, so,
It's gonna be an agenda item if you wonder
Yeah.
why it's on the warrant.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for those things. So next up is current business stuff. I have the country cupboard renovations, so it's shut down for the next month, and they're working on adding the Dunkin' Donuts and,
They completely gutted it down, it looked like.
yeah, well,
I drove in
they're,
the other night to go to the money machine. It was just, all the lights were on so you can see. There's nothing in there.
so they're doing external renovations and internally.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait for it to all be done. Like I said, first impressions are everything, and then once
It'll be
that's
great.
done, it'll be really nice.
Yeah, so that's good. It's gonna look awesome. And then,
Is there any timeframe?
end of February.
And-
End
Yeah.
of it?
So they're hustling, they're moving fast. That's
They're
great.
moving fast, they got the place gutted
Well,
and
they shut
stuff.
down.
Yeah, and they probably have a crew there too.
I know a lot of people are
They filled 2 dumpsters already,
excited about
Yeah, I
it.
saw that, yeah.
so they'll be,
It's gonna be
they'll
great.
move.
All right, so next up, we're gonna talk about Colonial Candies, and we have the realtor here for the property. Duncan?
Sure. Hi, Duncan Chapman with Keller Williamson. Got with me Eric Duncourt, also with Keller Williams.
You can pull the chairs up,
Yeah,
or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we've met with Erica before, and also building inspector at one point. And really wanted to come in and just kind of understand thoughts from the economic development, you know, for that general area. The zoning is general business. There's a small piece to the north, it's residential, that's where the septic system is located. It's a total of about 8.9 acres. And there's also a piece across 495.
Yeah.
That's 2.3.
Yeah.
Excellent frog pond.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like more of a marsh area, right?
Right.
Yeah, is
So,
that even developable?
What's the history of that?
Yeah.
So they owned all that land before 495 came
That's
through?
correct, yeah, that happens a lot.
Huh.
So you're talking about like the
Now there-
whole other side of.
Yeah, it's like a
There's a picture
water,
there.
yeah, it's all wetlands,
Oh,
right now,
okay.
right?
So like, yeah.
You can't do anything with it legally though, so. right?
Yeah, there was one question that we haven't fully researched yet, that somebody had made a statement that when the state takes land like that, and the land is in fact landlocked, there's supposed to be some provision, state locally, to allow access to that landlocked piece through some state. So we haven't checked that out, but again, it's giving us access to a pond.
Right.
So I'm
So
not
they
sure.
took the land eminent domain and
That's
just
right.
bisected the
Yeah,
property.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, one thought was there may be a way to get a sign over there for some, you know, the town or anybody that might want a sign. But again, that's not the focus, obviously, of the opportunity for the disposition of the property.
But you can use that towards your overall calculation for square footage, right?
I would think that would be correct, because it is, I'm not sure if it's the same address, it might be just whatever the road, well, it was the same address at one point, at 47
Do
Sugar
you know how that
Road.
works, Erica?
I'll look into it, I don't know off the top of my head.
But, yeah, that could be a possible advantage for parking and open space, you know, for future development. They had looked at, and they had a plan done by some engineer that they showed about an 8,000-foot two-story office building that could be built south of the existing structure. There's enough upland back in there to maybe do that. I'm not sure they put a lot of effort into, you know, professional engineering and all that, so I think that would be to be determined by the future buyer, if that made sense to subdivide that, or, you know, somehow tie it in, and then, you know, it's all wet back in there, it's kind of meanders. I walked back in there all the way to the fence, and it's a challenging topography back in there to try to think you're gonna get some expansion much beyond the existing building, so I'm not sure there's really much, you know, there as
So,
an
is it
opportunity.
possible that they can fill in a lot of this wetland? Because there's also wetland
No.
on this. I didn't think so. I didn't think so. I'm just, I always see a for sale sign on the corner and it looks like
You know,
wetland.
you just put a smile on his face, but I don't think it's possible.
I didn't think so, but I see a for sale sign on the corner of the 490,
Right.
right there, and it's like, it's wetland. Well, who's gonna buy that?
Right, if you say it's okay, then I'm sure that.
Right now, you just sounded conservation.
Yeah, you gave them a heart attack.
Now I'm going to conservation, our one viewer is now calling the conservation commission. Thanks, Frank.
There are some provisions, you know, in the state, and obviously it would be local conservation that would have to approve it, but sometimes you can fill in some amount if you can, you know.
Or cross
find-
over. in
Or
some
cross
cases.
over,
Right.
or
That's
somehow
usually the option.
you create
cross over.
wetlands someplace else in the state or in the town.
Gotcha.
You know, or maybe we could donate the east side land to the Conservation Commission, or something like that, but.
So when you were saying that 8,000 square foot building, you were saying
It's
that,
south of
Right.
the actual building
so
itself.
you're saying that potentially it could fit there, or that would be
It's
instead
down
of
here.
this?
This is
Yeah.
Yeah, we had, this is a little better blow up of the plan you have. And it does show a footprint of that 8,000 foot building with parking.
Where is that footprint? Is it here?
Yes.
Oh, right there.
So this is the
Okay.
current
This is the
building.
current building.
Oh, it's right over here, okay,
Right.
right there, okay.
So that was one concept.
And that's the delineation there?
Yeah, with the wetlands. But again, I think the work that they had done was totally back of an envelope versus a professional engineer, because with the setbacks, the wetlands, and
Right, so you would divide the lot there,
something like that, right,
because you have plenty of frontage.
right, right.
And so,
we've run some, trying to find the highest and best use. Maybe it's a restaurant, maybe there's other retail there that would be possible. There had been a big restaurant that made a offer, I think it might have been before 2008, of, some decent money, but at that time, they had no intention of selling. It was premature, and that's gone by the wayside. But having captured that thought of a destination restaurant location, that seems to be...
you couldn't ask for a better location.
Right,
Yeah,
you
right
got
on that way.
that, you got the visibility, you've got the interchange right there.
And you have
See
a
it
town that
from-
needs,
see it
and a
from
town that
highway.
needs more restaurants.
Yeah.
Right, and I live in Harvard, so we would definitely come over, support that.
I mean, it's the
Own
perfect place for a
challenges.
restaurant, you see it from the highway.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
so-
right.
What's the current septic system?
It's a Title V residential septic system. Again, they don't have a lot of use, with the ice cream and candy
Right.
there. They do have their own residence upstairs, which is a nice, the apartment complex that they have. And then they have the manufacturing in the basement.
So
They
they
have
must have
dry-
a public water supply then, right?
That's right, that's right. So I think it works for that use. You're right, a restaurant, full-service restaurant might be a challenge, but,
But so the septic is just for that, there would have to be a new
So-
septic for
Yeah,
it.
special, like if someplace, Howard General Store,
yes,
when they redid the septic system, when the current owner bought that building,
right.
they had to make provisions so that they could serve any kind of food there. Like they just wanted to do hot dogs in the beginning.
Right,
So they have a grease trap,
right,
which is not residential,
right, right.
so.
Now, I think there may be some ways around that, and I think, working with town departments, there may be something there, if we can find a user that could, step up with a decent market price. I think that has some possibilities.
So-
And,
I was gonna say this price here, so I was gonna show you this, they want us, because I've been sharing this stuff on Facebook,
Sure.
they've been posting like crazy. So they're looking for somebody to buy the business and take over the current candy business, right?
that's correct. Now, the discussion about the business and the real estate, this last fall, they kind of said, well, maybe they would entertain selling them separately. Because
When you say separately, you mean that the
Yes.
south lot?
the business would be sold to somebody, and they can move it any place they want.
Okay.
So they're separating the
Okay.
business sale
Oh,
and the
okay.
real estate sale.
Okay.
So they're open to that, and,
Okay.
the value that's shown on there at 5.5 million, it's a number they'd like to get. I'd love to see them get it.
And that includes the land and
That's-
the business?
That's correct, yeah, the business and the real estate. So,
The price per unit, what is that about?
yeah, that, I had put in there that there was 2 units, meaning a residential unit
Oh, okay.
upstairs. It's just the way the system kicked that out and just cut it in
Okay,
half.
so I'm like,
That's not-
what's the unit?
Right,
I'm
right.
trying to think how would you
Yeah.
split this property
No,
up,
that's
okay?
excellent point.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, ignore that.
Yeah, ignore that. So I really think, we work with communities, throughout New England, and we definitely want to understand, town planner, economic development, because you never know when the opportunities are coming in, or, geez, you ran into something, or you heard about something, and, working together, we chase it down, and next thing you know, we have a business, in the town that might not have happened if we weren't working together
Mhm.
with local officials.
Yeah, for sure. I think, in the past 5 years, well, even more than that now with the EDC, we've really been trying to be more proactive with businesses and make better connection with businesses to the people in town. And
Sure.
I think the feeling of the community is, supporting local businesses, and wanting to bring more that, suit, what people want in town, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll for sure post this on our Facebook page, which actually we have a lot of Chamber of Commerce following it as well, so
Erica,
should get more
liquor
views.
license wise, do we have right available. Could we add one, are we able to add one with our
That's
population
a
and
really good
everything?
question. I don't know off the top of my head.
It would be good to look it up and get it back to him. And we also have an ugly, for some reason, a liquor license in this town has an ugly process that requires, does it still require
Well,
these
I
state?
think like 40 years ago,
It still requires, it has to go to state
The
legislature.
wider
It's not gonna change, so
Yeah.
whoever's looking at it unfortunately has to go to state legislature. And if they want all the information on it, we could put them in touch with
I think-
Bruce on how to go through it
I
and do
think at
it.
one point we like voted to be a dry town.
I don't care how we
or
got
something
it
like
there,
that.
it's there and we just,
Yeah,
but I'm all for it and hopefully we have a spare slot that we could
Right.
still get
But
one.
I'm sure they do their
Yeah.
due diligence,
So,
that was the
yeah.
angle there.
But let them know, we got it weird, it's not as easy as,
Right.
Not-
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah, if that restaurant, I know you
Yeah.
can't say who it was, if they're,
Yeah.
a major draw, and I'm sure, as you said, they did their due diligence before they made an offer, so there's got to be.
Yeah, they're not gonna need our assistance and.
but I mean, you guys see 626, I mean, people love that place.
Right.
The mix of businesses in there, both in Bean, I mean, so
Right. Right.
I think people would prefer something,
Like that.
family-owned type restaurant versus a chain restaurant, but.
Right, right. You know, you think of, what's the big, the one up in Groton,
Yeah, that's.
the Gibbet House.
Gibbet Hill.
Yeah.
Gibbet Hill,
Yeah.
you know, something like that, because again, obviously Bolton has the demographics
Yeah.
with the surrounding towns
Yeah.
to support that type of a restaurant.
Yeah,
So, you know, we're gonna be reaching out to some of those restaurants and, you know, maybe they know of somebody or maybe, you know, they would take a chance on a location like that.
especially during the fall season. I know I was going to Neshoba a lot with the brochures and stuff, and I mean, they were booking out Jay's.
Oh, God, that
I mean,
makes
you couldn't even get in there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there was overflow in all the restaurants. So it is a good,
Yeah.
especially during the fall time.
Right.
But
Right,
people are looking for restaurants
right.
like that. Maybe not, somewhere in between.
Sure.
Give it
Somebody'd
a.
have to really redo, like, update it.
Oh, but I think
Oh,
that
yeah,
you
you're
can
gonna
talk
put a ton of money into the.
Yeah, I'd probably expand the building too.
Right, right.
Or even if,
Looking at it.
even if it would be the
Reconfigure it.
south lot,
Right,
It doesn't have to be this building, could be a new building.
right. And, you know, that upland where that potential
Like an
other building
outline.
could be located could end up just being parking.
I don't know.
And so,
We kind of have our boat one.
you heard us talking earlier, we're 8% coverage. The plan was putting an article for up to 20%. So I'm not sure with the wetlands if that even helps or not, but
Right.
yeah. If it, but something in May, you might have a lot more value with the property as well.
Also, the coverage would go up to 20% from 8%.
From 8%.
Yeah, that would be great.
If it passes town meeting.
Yeah,
Which, it needs 2/3 votes, so
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So Duncan, just to kind of go back for a second, you said there's a residence upstairs, I was unaware of that. so
Yep. A residence is upstairs, that's where the Heberts live.
They live there.
They live
okay.
there, and then they have the store retail on the first floor, and then they have the factory downstairs, which it is quite a factory down there. And you actually have a drive-in door that comes down, at grade.
Instead of walk out in the back.
It's a walkout in the back. We try to tell the people one of the reasons the price is what it is because you get 20 elves come with it. But
It's
that's,
like $1 million of inflatables.
yeah. Anyways, and the building itself is in really good shape, and they maintain the roof and the siding, and, everybody's been in there, so you see how clean it is. The basement is almost as clean as the retail. One thing on the business that they haven't done, and it's really the street traffic, they have very little, web-based, sales. And I think there's a tremendous upside for somebody that could understand all that. They have been working with a couple of marketing people where they make special candies, and they're sold in hotels. Kind of some of these, he makes this, I don't know if people have seen it, but he dips an Oreo cookie in chocolate, and then they put it in like an aluminum foil.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's real special. And
Killer.
yeah, they're really, really good.
Yeah. I've had a few of those.
But anyway, so, you know, you're buying an industry, you're not, and you're buying, it's more than a candy store, you know?
Yeah, I always feel, it seems like they have stepped up, trying to do more social media marketing and stuff like that. Because I know we go there, you
Yeah.
know, a few
Yeah.
times a year maybe. and
Right.
Never seems like, it seems like a lot more can be made of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the pride they have in their product and the pride they have in the real estate is, you know, beyond none, you know, it's just, they really take pride in everything they do in delivering to their customers, so.
And if you could add a second building with some retail or something, it would drive business to there too, because it isn't just kind of like a walk-up business, it's kind of, you have to know about it and be going there.
Right, right, yeah. And so, you know, that's the question, you know, what's the value of the business, and is that the right location for the business? Or is there value in the business that could be taken and literally grown, you know, historically candy stores like that were in downtown city locations.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, maybe, you know, Hudson location, downtown Hudson, or,
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, is that, can they still bring in the traffic and create more traffic? You know, who knows, you know, so that's great. Thanks for those comments, that was quite helpful.
Yeah, like I said, so I'll definitely share this brochure
Yep.
on a Facebook page, and if there's anything we can do,
Sure.
And then-
I can even, when I put this up, I can just ask people in general, give us your thoughts or ideas, and then if you follow that post, you know, maybe, I don't know, you know, how much traffic or not I'll get, but maybe people.
Great. Yep. Hey, you know, it's that one connection,
Yeah.
obviously today, that
So
makes things happen.
Is it officially on the market now?
Yes, yeah, we have had it on the market, and, you know, our sign is, they've kind of gone back and forth about a big sign. You know, my thought would be redevelopment opportunity right on 495,
Yeah.
but they're worried that sends the wrong note, you know,
Message.
to message to about the candy business,
Well,
so,
so that was what I was unclear about.
right,
You know, my wife was like, oh no, is it gonna go away, the business?
right,
Yeah.
right. So their preference, obviously, is to sell the business, keep it there, and the real estate, and, you know, somebody
Take it
takes
over
that,
and go on with it.
go on with
Forward.
it, and maybe, as you suggest, maybe there's an opportunity to get another building in there that
Yeah, that
creates
would be
more
great.
value to the real estate and
More,
to the town.
yeah, more assessed value for the town, that would be awesome.
Yep, yep.
So I updated, we have.
Maybe lower that tax base.
Okay.
For properties for sale,
Tax
well,
rate.
and I put it on the EDC's webpage.
Beautiful.
So I just today added Colonial Candies and Fort Bush Mill Road.
Gotcha.
Is this information, I couldn't spare it with you, if that's
Right.
correct.
Yep. Right, and this one is actually under agreement, obviously.
Do you want me to take it off the list?
No, I would leave it on, but,
Okay.
you know, if you could make a note. under
What are you
agreement.
talking about?
Yeah, this is a 26 Fort Bush Mill Road.
Yeah.
We're the broker on that, and that's under agreement.
For which properties?
The Dagnall liquor.
Oh,
Oh, it's under agreement. Who bought it? Were they
Well, it's
double-
under
the whole-
agreement. It's
the
not-
whole building or just that?
No, the whole, the building and the property. There's, you know, what is that, 3.5 acres, Eric? I can't, trying to remember off the top. But the building that's there's absolutely more opportunity to expand that building or put another building. The lot is
It's a big
a
lot.
bit odd shaped.
It
It comes
is.
up to a point on Route 117.
So what are the plans, then? You have any idea?
Well, the thought is the buyer is looking to try to create some type of a coffee shop, donut shop there, and probably looking to acquire the pizza place and combine the real estate to be able to create more of a retail
Oh,
opportunity.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know also, so there's a new housing development called Tadmore across the street. And the planning board actually, when we did the Fosford development, we divided out the corner lot behind the DPW. And it's, how many
Okay.
acres is it? 6?
I think it's about that, maybe 5.
Behind the DPW on Route, and it fronts on 117,
Fronts
and that is
116.
town-owned.
No,
Nope.
no,
No,
So
no,
it'd be 5 acres of commercial,
The owner-
some sort of.
The owner of, what's the owner
business
called?
use.
Who's the official owner of the land?
Ted Morelli is
Yeah,
the
okay.
applicant.
Okay.
I know the
It
applicant.
was originally a 30-acre parcel, and then the
Gotcha.
planning board asked that they subdivide it, because it was a split zone.
Yeah.
Part of it was residential, part of it was commercial. and they
So we
wanted-
saved the business zone.
Nice. Nice.
because we didn't want to get it sucked into the residential.
So he hasn't got that on the market yet?
No,
I don't know what his plan is, but
Right.
so there's, I don't know how many feet on front, but it also wraps around the DPW, and there's more than 200 on the, on Forbush on the other side, so really you could split it in half and have,
Gotcha.
you know, a
Interesting.
frontage on 117 and frontage on there, and
Yeah.
then if he's developing that section down, you can have a whole little business
Is
district
that
there.
DPW building,
How old
is that the only DPW building?
That is.
Yes,
it is.
It kind of stinks that it's stuck in the middle, right?
Yeah,
Well, no,
it's an eyesore. for
Yeah,
sure.
we maybe talk
Well-
a bit briefly here, but
Let's make a deal.
let's make a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the federal government has a program for a number of their departments called Real Property Exchange, where a developer would pay the town or build a new DPW in exchange for the land and the building.
Well,
So it doesn't have to, it's just a simpler way.
so I know there has been, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like talk, like, you know, on the top of everybody's mind, but there's a lot of municipal land along 495, and I know that the DPW, at least Harold Brown, the old DPW director, had talked about needing a new facility at some point.
Right.
So, I mean, I agree.
There is
If we could,
probably.
if we could
an
move
option.
that to
Yeah.
a different municipally owned land, like
Right.
along 495, where it maybe makes more sense to have the DPW,
Right,
and then have that entire corner,
Oh, yeah.
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
right, right.
Did you say they're also doing residential there?
Yeah, so that's,
on
it.
there.
Yeah. So, yeah, a little left of the corner, there's gonna be 11 house subdivision.
What was the name of that program, Duncan?
Real Property Exchange, RPX.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually got started up in New Hampshire. The Manchester Airport was looking to do, they did their master plan, and there was a reserve center right in the middle of the main runway.
Do you think that the person who's buying the property across the street might be interested in doing a program like this, or?
He's a, you know, a legitimate developer, and I think he could scale to something like that. You know, when you've got the roads, you're splitting by roads,
Right.
that's sometimes, you
Yeah.
know, because you don't have any economies of scale on one
So
property.
you said that they would build, they would just give the land, so the
Well,
town would
the
have to
Real
build.
Property Exchange Program, this case, the town would say, hey, we'll exchange this property if you build us a new DPW building
On
someplace.
another piece of land.
On another piece of land.
That would be,
yeah.
I mean, we should try to kick conversations off with that.
Yeah,
That'd be
no, it's,
awesome.
there's a lot of, then there's enhanced use leasing, and anyways, there's a lot of ways to do
But
this.
whoever that buyer is,
Right.
you should let them know about the land across the street.
No, absolutely,
Yeah, I don't know what Tad Moore is doing with it or not.
right.
Initially, we just made sure that it was set aside, which it is.
No, that was a great play, well done. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for the thoughts on 47 Sugar Road. We'll certainly keep you posted on that.
Great.
And go from there. I think, do we just kind of go right into this other topic? We were going to talk a little bit about, Keller Williams has a division called Government Services Division,
Oh, okay.
and we have a program called Monetizing Municipal Assets.
Okay.
They have the printout.
Oh, they have that printout,
Yeah.
right. So we're not gonna go through all these slides, we'll probably just more talk off the top. There's a whole more here. And, I don't know, fair chair.
Oh, don't worry.
Here we go. But anyways, prior to joining Keller Williams Commercial, I had worked for the Starbuck Company, which is Roger Starbuck's company. So for about 7 years, from 2002 until 2008, we sold it to Jones Lang LaSalle. So that was in July of 2008, before the economy turned, 540 million. Roger got about 40% of that. I wasn't a partner, so I didn't see any of it. But one of the things that the Starbuck Company did, they had a group called Government Services Division, and they worked with states, and they were the real estate broker for 17 states from 2003 to 2008. So I left Starbuck in 08, had my own company, and I liked this process about you know, monetizing, working with government agencies to help them monetize their assets, but I only had 3-4 brokers. So we focused on cities and towns. So we had a couple of contracts, Town of Mendon, Onset Fire and Water, in addition to all the other commercial stuff we were doing. So you fast forward to 2 years ago, I joined Keller Williams Commercial. You know, Eric's on the team. We've got 2 other brokers right here in Leominster, Bolton, Westminster. But we're part of a group out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And our mission statement in this government services division is to help government service agencies and municipalities look at their assets and potentially help them monetize those assets. So could be an old building that you want to convert to housing, a school building. It could be
So you're saying municipal buildings?
municipal buildings, yeah. So the program we'll be talking about, you know, in here, and again, we're not going to go through every slide. I'll let you guys do that, and if you had some more interest, we can come back in and we'll move a little more specific. And some of the things we've already talked about tonight, the exchange of the DPW, and knowing that you've got large, you know, town-owned tracts that aren't set aside for conservation, and that could be developed. I mean, that's, you know, that's a positive, you know, yellow, green flag, like.
So the land along 495, I think it does connect up to like the horse ring field, is that right? The municipal land along 495 on the southwest side.
Connects up to what?
Yeah, I don't know.
The land that we put the solar panel.
Oh, like
Right.
the fields in the back,
Yeah.
the athletic fields in the
Yeah,
back?
yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like connected. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Connected to what?
Yeah, sorry.
It's
495,
a
or
weird
17th
shaped lot that
Street.
goes along 495, then it comes over and connects to the athletic fields behind
It's like an L shape.
behind
Yeah,
the
but
school.
it's landlocked.
I know, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying if we had access to
Yeah.
it, we could do something.
It's landlocked
So,
by the
but
school.
what we
and
did
the,
is we put the right to build solar panels on it as part of the green communities.
Yeah, the problem with that land, we've already discussed it with Joe, the new DPW director. The problem he has with accessing that land is we're actually, the easement to it, there's no easement to it for us to use.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, we're basically, to get there, to maintain the wastewater treatment plant, we're crossing somebody else's land pretty much.
Wasn't Bolton Office Park going to give us access to that land or something like
have
that?
We have access,
We have
but it's not
access.
like,
It's not yours.
It's not great.
it's not as official as it should be and done right, the way it needs to, like where you can go ahead and pave in and go
You
for
know,
it.
I thought we had a frontage by 495, like closer to 495. I thought there was some frontage there on Main Street.
Way around
That's
in the
wooded,
back,
but it's-
maybe.
Yeah, it's
By
wooded.
the cell
but it-
tower,
Yes,
by
exactly.
the cell tower. You're thinking by the cell tower then, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So we can clear, what you're saying is
Yeah.
you can clear that out. and
But
make-
then you go around and back, you'd have to, I think that's all wetlands back there. You have to cross the wetlands to get around it. So that would
I'm just
be-
trying to
It's
think of
not
like,
easy access, for sure.
I
Yeah,
mean, we don't have tons of municipal land. I mean, we have a lot of conservation land. And I don't know of any buildings that are out of use, but I know the DPW is the biggest thing. I know like 5 years ago, I was on capital planning and
Right.
there was like a long-range plan of a new DPW.
we
which
were
is
gonna put the police station back by the cell tower
Okay.
when the police station was first being planned. So
Oh, really? I
there
didn't
could be,
realize
there could be enough land back there for a DPW building back.
Right,
what I-
typically, you know, they don't need storefront.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
No, and it would be
You want to
good.
see it. I don't want to
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
at it.
Well, that's where I was
And they see it over here and it's like, really?
That's where I was
It's right
envisioning
there,
the
front center.
DPW.
High
Yeah.
school, right?
It's behind the cell tower.
So you're saying the
Back there.
access is for
They were gonna put a
117?
police station back there.
Yeah.
And the argument was, the police station was gonna be buried way in the back, and it wasn't a visible spot for a police station. That's why I
Is
didn't
the
go there.
access through the lacrosse field?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
that driveway next to the lacrosse field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't go the other way. You
Yeah.
can't get there.
Okay, it's through the lacrosse field.
Yep.
I mean, but that's where I would envision the DPW,
Yeah.
back there,
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
All their stuff would be way off the beaten path. And
Yeah, you wouldn't see it, which is,
Well, again, you'd be swapping, you know,
Yeah.
the current location for retail, commercial development.
Exactly.
Yeah, for tax revenue, and you'd be getting a new municipal building for the DPW, which could use it, because the buildings are
Yeah.
kind of all cut up, and the offices.
Well, like I said,
Yeah, I mean,
I know that was on the long-range plan, but it was millions of dollars, so.
We have a couple of parcels on Fort Bush Mill Road too. Well, one's the transfer station, because I know when we looked at the solar, we identified 3 locations, so there are 2 parcels on Fort Bush.
Yeah, right, to the south of the old landfill, right?
Yeah, so it sounds like you have a pretty good handle on what your assets might be.
Yeah.
There's other potential tax takings where sometimes somebody gets behind and the town is like, well, if we take this, what are we gonna do with it? So again, commercial real estate, broker consultant can help sort through some of that because they know the market, that type of thing.
Seems like there might be some synergy between the 2 programs.
Yeah,
The real property exchange program and this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Could be some combination of projects that could.
Right, and again, with it going to town meeting for any final vote, it's just not rocket science. If you can make the case, for the deal.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can't see how anybody would be against that,
Right.
what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, no, it's not rocket
Is the
science.
selectment aware of this program? Do you know?
I don't
I think it's
not.
probably their
Yeah,
purview
no way
to
That's a good question, yeah.
probably adjudicate on this, though I appreciate.
We're not
this
adjudicating
information.
anything, we're just getting,
No, I understand, but
Talking.
we're talking about it, and I think that maybe we.
Well, we, had talked with, Eric in the past a little bit about this. We had a client that was looking at the property across from Slattery's, the Skinner Auction House last year, and they were quick enough to get an offer in before that one got, off the market. So we've done a little homework here, and obviously we're right in town with our Kelloween's, Bolton office anyway. So it's just, we're building our commercial team. We've got some great programs, and we just thought we'd take this
Yeah, this is a
opportunity.
great-
It's a great program, yeah.
could the planning board drive this to the selectmen? Or,
I kind of feel like if Duncan wanted to make this presentation in front of Board of Selectmen, I can certainly get.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'd rather go right to the decision.
yeah, go right to the
Yeah.
selectmen.
I think that would be best.
However,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, however, it can be driven to the selectmen, it would be good.
Yeah, that's great.
Right, no, we can definitely do that. And I don't want to take.
No, that's a great program, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
Eric, do you want to just talk about our current projects that we have, just briefly, because we're taking a lot of time here, but.
No, this is all great information,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, just to go over quickly, currently we are working with the town of Orange through a mass development program grant, where we're doing a market analysis of, they've got, that's 400 acres of industrial land right off of Route 2. We did a market study and a needs assessment for those properties. We're actually presenting on Wednesday to a stakeholders meeting.
Selectmen, yep.
And then City of Gardner, we have 3 listings for the redevelopment authority. And we currently we're awarded 2 contracts with Mass Development for, one is their site readiness program, which is 50-acre parcels. And then the Gateway Cities and Brokerage Services. So that's currently what we have
Yep.
on the books.
Anyways, so we're out there looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street. Some towns don't have those, portfolio of town-owned properties that would work. But, one project, one big project it's a win-win. And usually one of the issues that comes up is how does a town hire a broker? So potentially you have to run an RFP, but when we've seen those run before, there's nobody that competes with us because it's not something that people typically do. I mean, somebody might, that'd be fine, and then you can make your selection, but we feel we got a good track record, we got a great team, and we've delivered results, for a number of cities and towns already.
So you've been through an RFP process?
Yes, yep, absolutely. The 30B process, and obviously the sooner it gets started, the sooner we can get hired. There's examples of RFPs for brokerage services out there that, people can get a hand.
So just on a lower level, how is a buyer's realtor, and there's realtors in there, so maybe you guys can answer me. So if we were to do this real property exchange, you would have to have like a buyer's agent for the town for this DPW land to get it over to wherever we're going, and then, so you would represent the town, you're saying, and then the realtor of whoever was developing the land would.
Yeah, if they even needed a realtor, you know. I mean, they may have a realtor, they may not. It's just the process, going through the process and what the 30B process, because that is a town-owned property. The federal government's real property exchange program didn't require them to do a 30B, so that would have to be researched. You'd have to have, you know, town council, you know, involved to see how could it be brought down to the municipal level. But to me, you know, it's there, and really, if you had to run an RFP, you'd write the RFP with those, you know, parts to it, and the developer gets the land by building a new DPW, same size, whatever, you know, on the other land. You work out the details, but it ends up being a win-win.
Who did you and Helene talk to about redeveloping
Well, we
the?
didn't talk to about redeveloping anything.
But
Mike
he brought it
Jacobs,
up.
you know Mike Jacobs?
Oh, Mike, very well, yep.
Yeah, so,
He brought
so
up
he was
redevelopment.
interested, he obviously brokers for large national companies.
Right,
And he was looking for a specific location. He was the one that proposed an exchange of municipal land for another, he was targeting a specific piece of property that was
Yep.
municipal land and saying, I'll exchange it for something else.
and typically, it was not gonna be a gas station, that's kind of
Correct.
Mike's strength,
Yeah.
right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that, it doesn't matter what it was for.
Right,
The
right.
point is that, I guess we're somewhat familiar with the concept. I just think that, you know, this concept has to go to the Board of Selectmen
Sure.
probably first, and
Yeah.
then we can filter
But
from
he
there.
also, didn't he also talk about that particular area of properties, you know, combining them up and doing some type of development, didn't he?
Oh, sure, I think that he would look at any opportunity that made economic sense. I think that's kind of what drives business, right?
Yes,
But now with that, and if we combine it with the other side of the road, we can, you know, that would be a
Sure,
lot.
I think that, you know, this gentleman's more than capable of looking at these opportunities, and then
Yeah.
if he's got a developer that is successful, he must have done it before, therefore he has the ability to
yeah.
look at a deal and see if it makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that usually is, you know, if the concept's good, you know, how do we get hired? And, you know, it's probably a 30B process, so that is usually a minimum of 90 days.
I don't know what the
But-
30B process is.
Yeah, it's- Eric, do you wanna jump in here?
It's a Mass General Law 30B procurement.
Right, it's procurement.
Oh,
So
okay.
any public land or buildings or assets.
Services, supplies, yeah,
On public land.
well, just public,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay, I got it.
If you buy enough paper clips, you have to bid for
Right.
them.
Oh, okay.
There's certain thresholds that require you to meet certain requirements.
Okay, well,
Anyway.
great information, thank you.
Good.
Very, yeah.
Okay, great.
I'll send an email to, I mean, you'll be talking to Don too, but I'll send an email that you should talk to them.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. New businesses, so Bolton Cleaners, which we already talked about. So I feel like we kind of dropped the ball a little, and UMass Bolton Primary Care just popped up, and I don't know if you want to do a story on them,
Where are they?
at the Bolton Corners.
Oh, okay.
If Bolton Cleaners is kind of
Yep,
not really,
I'll do that in
Get back
Bolton
to you.
Capital.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they just kind of went in there with no.
There was no fanfare.
No, zero fanfare, no, there was no hoops for it all around.
I was
the whole
actually
thing.
listening-
I don't know that
They're here?
they're not
Well, I heard
built
of,
out though. I
I mean,
know
the
the
signs do,
situation
yeah.
fairly well.
Okay.
And they're still looking to build out the position.
well, the reason why I'm saying that, okay, well, because I heard like on the
So I
radio.
think at some point
There was
they'll
an
try
advertisement
to,
on the radio.
they'll
Maybe
try to, yeah, but I mean, I think that they're looking to really kind of build out the position base. You
Yeah.
can't really say we're here.
When
if you
there's a
don't have
webpage
the-
though with the physician that will be
But
there.
they have
I
space,
think
they,
they're going up to 5 positions. I think they have 2 right
now, are they moved into the space?
Correct.
Yeah.
And are they taking patients?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, they're opened and
Sure.
they're taking
Yeah,
patients.
sure.
and-
Yeah,
And we really
So
didn't
maybe
say or do
get-
anything.
Yeah, get that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just adult medicine?
Because we go to the place up at the Commons in Hudson. That's where we go with our kids now. 'Cause the emergency clinic there, they take us immediately.
To Emerson?
Yeah.
I've heard that it's excellent.
It is. I mean, our kids have gotten stitches there, X-rays, everything. So yeah.
Wow. So you're on a first name basis?
Yeah, we are. Our kids, our boys are notorious for doing something
So-
foolish and getting themselves injured.
So Amy, since you're our resident new business story writer,
I'm not really good at it,
Huh?
but I'm not even that good at it, but I'll do
it's
it.
fine.
I just like to talk to people, so.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody has any other ideas for stories, like I said, so Bolton Capital, this UMass one.
And I'll do the cleaners whenever there's somebody in there to
Yeah.
talk to.
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
What's going on with the little house next to the exit on 117?
Nothing.
It's for sale, right?
It's been for sale.
There was some
for
sort
so
of
long.
gas station talk last meeting. Didn't we have about that specifically?
Well, I
There's
too
always,
small,
it always
right?
pops up.
Okay.
Someone interested in doing, it's a small site, it's
Yeah.
really tough to.
They don't have a
Okay.
very big piece of land.
No,
Yeah.
it's really small.
Not enough room for a gas station, I think, yeah.
I don't think so, so.
I don't know what,
That's what would be
seems like it would be
cool.
like a retail or something, I don't really know what.
It's really just.
A liquor
tiny
store.
spot.
Right
There we go.
Yeah, right next to
Liquor
the
store,
right next to the
right
highway.
there, right next to the highway.
Great
Get on,
idea,
get off.
yeah.
That's perfect. People will love it.
vape
Big
shop.
neon sign.
Drive-through.
But
Um,
liquor store would be probably a good idea right there from a geography
Yeah.
standpoint.
Well, yeah, because we're gonna lose them and have them.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I don't think you'll
Those are
lose
the
one on
2
four.
And then what's
You'll
the
just
Country
change
Cover had a bit of a
names.
liquor store too. Is that going to come back or no? Did they have like a small liquor store?
Yeah,
They
they
still
sold
want-
part
still-
here in
Yeah, they had
Okay,
beer,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
But is
yeah.
it coming back with the?
Oh, yeah,
Of course
Is
it
Stella's
is.
still going to be there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's gonna be the same, they're just redoing the whole inside of
And
the
adding a
store.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so if anybody ever has any story ideas and wants to do anything or post anything, just feel free,
Well,
you know.
definitely a grand opening for Country Cupboard, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Balloons and everything.
So we still have the scissors, and I know a few years ago we did a bunch of ribbon cut-ins and kind of got away from it, but I know that I did it, but it just got, it actually, it's kind of tough to organize, getting political people there and,
Can it just be, do you have to have political people?
you don't have to, but,
Just get like a bunch of people in town. though.
yeah, that's fine too.
I can't wait to see the new Country Cover.
Kate Hogan actually is
She's good about covering.
she's very good about coming to any kind of new business type thing. She's really big into that. the
At a
economic side of
minimum,
things.
I'm sure Don Law would come and say a
Yeah.
few words, so.
Yeah,
Any discussion, going back to Country Cover, the house next door, I know they received a permit to actually tear down the property. Any news on, once Country Cover is done, is that next?
That's next.
That's-
So
Yeah.
that's gonna, a
Yeah.
restaurant going in there, right? Yeah.
well, it's gonna be two,
Spaces.
Two spaces.
Yeah, one
Restaurant,
more.
retail.
Yeah, okay.
What's the restaurant?
We don't know.
she's just developing the two spaces and then
Yeah.
we'll
Okay.
rent them out, we'll lease them out, yeah.
Now, do we have any plans on that yet that have been submitted to the town?
No,
specifically?
well, what was submitted
Yeah.
to planning board,
Yeah.
but I think their next move should be any day is a demo permit to take.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we already, they already have the architecture and design
Okay.
all done. They were kind of intending, the country cupboard in that building to kind of, sort of be a pair.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
create a little village
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
feel.
I got it.
So you're still gonna just pull in that one driveway and either go left, there'll be like a little
Yeah,
courtyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
That'll be really good.
More commercial.
The Tux did that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
She does a great job.
Yeah, she does everything.
They did our house.
Oh, did they? Yeah, love her.
Is there anything else new business wise going on, or is that
I
about it?
think that's it.
Okay. Vacant commercial space, we already kind of discussed this, starting to, maybe it won't happen to May, but I really want to start proactively meeting owners and seeing what we can do for them, especially if we can grow the commercial, grow the coverage,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
because then we could offer TIFs for expansion.
Mhm.
And, which a TIF is, it's a tax incentive plan to expand your property out and, say we only charge you half the taxes for the next 5 years. So it's like if not for this tax incentive plan, I wouldn't do this, but because you're giving me this plan, I'm gonna expand out. And it's only on the expanded part, you still pay on original part the same, what you had been paying, but, so by increasing this coverage, it gives us a lot of opportunities to expand current businesses and build big, like, I think the Kings were saying that, just 8% is tough to work.
Now, Eric, would you mind sending, because it looks like you want Don Lowe involved with these conversations.
I think he would be good to be there, yeah.
Would you mind sending him an email just to give him an update on what he's
Sure.
proposing? and-
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think, being the administrator, he should probably be the point man, because then he could drive to the selectmen and you and Don Lowe, I think, are probably the most important ones. And then, okay, bye. Thank you. Yeah, I want to see whoever, I think Don, is great at that stuff too, because I know in Clinton, he was very involved in economic development, so he's a pretty good feel for that, so I will send an email to him.
Okay.
I just wanted to go over quick the planning board's articles that are coming forward. So the cottage overlay, which I've talked about all these before, but they're all pretty much locked in now. So the cottage overlay is on any residential zone, 10 acres or more. Instead of going with a traditional subdivision, we would give density bonuses to build an over 55 type community. Smaller dwellings, we set a max size, set a max 2 bedrooms.
Has Amy Bennington reached out to you at all to talk to you? Because we're under the impression in Century Mill Estates he's leaving, just so you know. He's out of here.
I have had a lot of calls, yeah.
Yeah, he's out of here by spring, or I say early, by May, June, he's out of here. So
Well, he's already sold off a lot of lots.
Well, he's sold, phase 1 and phase 2 are sold, for the most part sold
Well,
out.
what I'm saying,
but
yeah, he was
on
like-
the other side though, I mean, in theory, I think he sold some of those lots, but he's not finishing the road and he's basically packing up and leaving, and that's probably a good 40 acres of property, wouldn't you say? I mean,
Yeah,
it has to be at least 40 acres, because there are at least 35, 40 homes that we're gonna go down that part of the actual development.
I mean, everything that we've heard at planning board is he's been making efforts to develop it, but have you heard anything differently?
Fred Kuhn keeps telling me the same thing he's been telling us for the last year, that they're working on financial funding and, getting the bedrock blasted in that phase 1, and that's the track, at least that's what they're telling me they're still on. However, I know I keep getting calls from residents and they have a different story.
Yeah,
so.
and I live in the development, and all of us are concerned that he's leaving,
Yep.
and we only have one top, we can't hand over the
Yeah, no,
development.
I'm worried about that too,
Yeah.
so.
And he's gonna be charging us for
Is
our
that an accepted
plowing.
road?
No, and he's gonna be
So he
charging
had
us
to
for our
post the
plowing
bond,
this year,
Yeah.
and he's
Oh, yeah.
going back 2 years.
Yeah.
What was that, what did you say?
He's also gonna be charging us for our plowing of the
Well, it's not an
street,
acceptable
going back
road.
3 years.
Not an accepted private road.
Yeah. But, during the whole buying process, I'm gonna take care of it until the actual development is, then I hand over to town, I'm not gonna hit you up for it. But all of a sudden, now that he's not doing well, he's going back 3 years and starting to charge us.
I know at one point he's because of all that bedrock to get. to
Yeah, there's a lot of
Central-
bedrock on the
I mean,
other side, there's
he's-
more than he expected.
Yeah, it's like, what, 40 or 50 feet DPS to blast or something like that, you
It's like
said?
35 feet, I think.
35 feet? I mean, pretty much,
That's crazy.
I mean, he's pretty much
That's a
gonna,
wall.
yeah.
It is a
It's
wall.
wall.
Like the
It's a
like the
wall.
Berlin exit.
Why didn't you just build a tunnel? It would be easier.
Well, so he actually swung the idea of not making a through road and having 2 common driveways coming on Century
Yeah,
Mill.
yeah.
But I don't think the fire chief went for that,
None of the departments went for that, unfortunately, yeah.
which would have made development easier.
So sorry, I
So-
interrupted about, I figured a cottage overlay might work well on the other side is my point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you might get somebody in there to do it, a
Yeah,
big developer in there to do it.
I think it would do well too, the price point for
Almost
higher
all
density
people's
areas. much
So what we
less than
do-
our homes.
They did the last one.
so it's max 2 bedroom, max 2,400 square feet, which is big, but we wanted to give a developer flexibility.
Yeah, I mean, you could put tons of homes up there.
And we said,
over
and we give,
55, I think it would sell quick.
if you did, whatever you dedicate to over 55, it's a 4x density bonus. So you can build, where there would be a 10 house subdivision, you could build 40 over 55s. And I did the numbers out and I'll present them to town.
Excuse me.
But,
So for every 10 homes, you could build 40, I mean, there's at least 30, I think 35 housing lots down there that are not sold,
So you could have almost
120?
120 unit.
Yeah.
overlay, that's a lot of tax revenue.
That's a lot of tax revenue.
Blasting.
Yeah, but it's not all blasting though, just just that initial entrance on Century.
So
Mill.
I didn't give some numbers, but I'll present them to town as. So for a 10-house subdivision, if you consider the cost for school and based on the number of average kids per school, so I did them all out. For a 10-house subdivision, you gain after all that about 55,000, I calculated. But for this 4X density over 55 with no kids, you would gain 396,000. So it's almost like an extra 350,000 for the same development to go from a traditional to over 55. So
I think they would do. I think an overlay would do really well over there.
well, it's the whole town, 10 acres or bigger. So I hope that passes. The other thing is the coverage. We're going from 8% to 20% for business and limited business, and for industrial, we're going to 30%. We're also adding an industrial 33% open space required. So you can build a lot bigger building, but you have to have an untouched 33% of land. Same thing we do for phosphid, which would potentially be buffered to neighborhoods and stuff like that. So it's not just like this big like lawn run up to a building. It's
Right.
A tree stand that's
Right.
natural. And we're tweaking the front setbacks and the side setbacks too. Thinking is, everybody knows Paragon, and we were at Paragon, and there's not one complaint in town about Paragon, and they give us, I think it's like 150,000 a year in revenue, and that's a major operation there. And it's really
The funny thing is, you wouldn't even know
You
by
wouldn't
the
even
back
know
of
it's
the
there.
building because it looks like an industrial place that's empty. But you drive around the
Looks like
front,
an
it's an
office
office building,
building,
a really nice one.
Yeah. So we have
You'd
that.
never know it.
We have that. So if this could allow them to expand Cobham, and then to the east of Cobham is an undeveloped lot, and I have an example that I'll present to town what a 30% building would look like there. So that's one. We have a parking bylaw, which kind of makes the parking more dynamic. Gives the planning board some leeway to not just some hard and cold, you have this much square footage and you need this much parking. It's more based on use. There's shared parking in there, there's off-site parking, and then there's the recreation marijuana, which pretty much, we did our survey, the planning board did the survey.
And what were the end results? Because initially, when you would actually had told us the town was in favor of offering a recreational marijuana facility here.
So what it ended up is pretty much 52% were for and 48% were against it, which is
52% were for. Wow.
That's not enough to get it passed though, right?
the problem is we need 2/3. But if we don't pass something, we're gonna be, the state's laws kick in, which means whatever a similar industrial use or a similar retail use, that's where it's allowed locally. So if we don't pass anything, there's no local control, so retail can go anywhere.
Really? So I can open up a pot store if I wanted to.
If we don't pass this bylaw.
Wow. All right. Well, I think
So the planning board is suggesting in the industrial
Wow.
zone, we allow it all.
Yeah.
We allow cultivation,
Yeah.
and we allow retail there. And then also, we're gonna allow retail throughout business and limited business, but with a 500-foot setback to residences. So ultimately, that kind of really narrows it down to not many places, if any at all. But, for instance, you know how that ranch house on the corner of 495 and 117 on the Kane property? If that wasn't a residence, then you could put like a retail marijuana shop in there. Financially for the town, it would be huge because you can get up to 6% in revenue from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think grow facilities is your biggest.
Oh, for sure.
moneymaker.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
least impact to you.
I mean, it's a multi-million-dollar business. If we can get 6% of that,
They can grow so much in such a small space. They grow it all indoors. Nobody grows outdoors. It's all hydroponic. It's all totally controlled, it's like crazy. I got a
So to
buddy
get
from
anything
Colorado
passed-
who's
So right
moved
next
out
to
here and
Colonial
building them.
Candies, right? So you get the
Yeah.
munchies. and-
Yeah.
That's
No, they
perfect,
grow
right?
it, you're not selling it here, it's going out, it's going
It's
out
being
here.
shipped out.
So here's the
They're just
thing,
growing
it's
it.
being shipped.
Supposedly. Yeah, they're not smoking.
They could
that.
go over there, and now the Hudson police have to deal with it,
They're not
their law
smoking in the
enforcement
parking
has to
lot.
bulk up, and they go away. The key is that you're not having to bulk up your police force, you're not having to bulk up
Yeah,
all your
exactly.
other stuff, and all your other town services,
Because
just
of-
to have this
Right.
retail
Business.
business, which you do have to do. When you have the retail business going
Yeah.
on,
I mean, if we could
There's
ever get
a
that money in the taxes,
significant yeah.
Wow.
we wouldn't have to do 2.5 for a
Cottage
year.
overlay is our only
In
option
a,
at this
in
point.
a, like, I forget what my
Yeah, but
buddy,
I'll-
I'll get some numbers, my buddy told me, in a, like, 100-foot by 100-foot building, they're growing about like $8 million worth of product a year.
So
So do that at 6%.
a last
Because
minute,
it's, the growing season is so quick and it's
a last
continuous.
minute addition. We've had some residences. What?
No, he was asking a question.
I was
What's the
curious.
time frame in the state?
Yeah, like, is it-
I think they're still writing the laws.
No,
They are.
it's done. That's right.
Is it done?
They've already put
It's
out the.
basically up to the towns to step forward, vote.
Actually,
put the law
town
in
council
place, and
suggests that we do something by April,
Mhm.
but although town meeting is to May, because in April, they're gonna start reserving licenses. And even though a moratorium goes to the end of the year, they can kind of just give them, how was the wording? They can give like a provisionary license until the moratorium's over.
That's what he said, yeah.
Yeah. So it's there, we're on the cusp. The last minute addition to the recreational marijuana, we had a resident who wanted to open up an in-home grow, which in the mass,
Sorry, I had to jump.
so you can already,
Yeah, it's already happening.
Six anyway, okay?
no, well, you can already grow
Wow.
6 to 10 plants.
Yeah. That's
But there's a notion of a tier 1 facility, which you can have up to 1,000 square feet.
which is your $8 million a month.
Yeah, no, a year.
A year, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm just gonna finish my.
In
third
the
floor.
Massachusetts right to farm law, marijuana is not included in that. So, so in Bolton, we do right to
Yeah.
farm. And you can
It's
grow.
farming.
Yeah, well, it's farming, but marijuana isn't included it according to state. So if you want to grow in residential property, you have to have a local bylaw. So in order to get the 2/3 that we need to pass this, there's no way if we added that in, we would ever get 2/3. So we're gonna have, what we decided to do is to have a base article for this industrial zone. And I think that should pass, because the people who,
Plus you're doing it in different tiers, you're doing a few of them, okay.
well, so the people who don't want it, I think will vote for it, just because if you don't vote for it, it'll actually be more widespread than if you do. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
We can never ban it. The numbers, more than half the people want it. So if you tried to ban it, people would vote it down, and then you would just go by the state laws.
I'm so surprised with this town that a large
Well,
percent wants it, but.
AgCom is really pushing being able to grow at the farms, so they really wanted.
I think that we should be allowing growing at the farms, I gotta be honest. I think it's,
So what we're doing is, we're gonna have a base bylaw, which I just talked about, and we're gonna have a second one. If the first one passes, we're gonna have a second one, I think, where we do a tier 1. Erica's working on it now, right? Where we do a tier 1 in the residential. I don't think that will get 2/3, but I don't want the planning board to be the blocking factor. Put it towards the town and see what.
what about the farms? Anything for the farms?
That would be the
Tier
farms.
one.
But tier 1's up to 1,000 square feet, that's
So
not,
they could do 1,000 square feet.
that's not that much, when we're talking farms.
I think she said it was 250 plants.
That's not, that's,
Well, let's start with
it's
that.
something, but it's,
Start with
yeah.
You know,
The farms,
barn space.
yeah,
Can make use of it.
you know? Yeah.
So we're good.
That horse barn that's empty now.
I'm just looking at tax revenue, I mean, I just wanna increase our tax revenue.
Right, so the question is, I think, we could do the same 6% that we do with this, with the people who do residential grow.
You could. You're probably right, Eric. You're probably right. You know, you get a bunch of 1,000 square
I'm gonna
foot
finish my
going
third floor.
and you're,
In my
you know.
basement.
So,
cares?
I didn't want as a chairman, I didn't want the planning board to be like
Snowplow
a
bills.
blocking factor to
What's
that.
that?
So I said, let's
You need the money
let's
to pay
not
your snow
hamper the
bills.
article we have. Let's do a second article and
Actually, it's funny.
put it to the town.
People realize how hard it is to get the license.
Actually, think that's
From the state.
Well, that's what the woman was saying, Kate Boyd. She was saying that.
It's so painful.
Well, no, I'm thinking maybe
There was actually one particular snow.
Erica's used to going to 11. Planning board goes to like.
give her a break.
Okay, can we go?
An hour later,
Motion to
yeah.
adjourn.
Hold-
Oh, sorry, we have a
Two hours.
local
I
meals
was in it
next.
for 3 days.
Yeah, I
I
wasn't
took
talking
up my
about
driveway like 8 times.
All right, last topic. Last
I'll
topic.
go inside. Let's go, because I'm falling fast.
It's been thrown around an advisory board, and they wanted us to research and look into it. They want to, or they would like to look into implementing a local meals tax, which is, on top of the state meals tax, you can add up to 0.75% to a local tax. Brian Boyle.
What is the town gonna do with this money?
We just talked about it. That's what the MEDC does to fund their.
Oh, okay, I see, okay.
So Brian
Right.
Boyle of the advisory committee, I guess there's something with the state, you can go and say, if you implemented this, how much would you get? And so they look at, based on what maybe the restaurants filed or whatnot, or what they paid, I guess, in state
They
tax.
give us a number.
The number is 60,000 a year.
I think it's a great concept because most of the people that go to restaurants aren't from the community, so it's just bringing in dollars.
Right, and it
From
doesn't,
people who are coming in and leaving.
so one thing I would like to know is, if all the other surrounding towns are doing it.
They're all doing it.
They're all doing it.
Right, so Hudson's doing it for sure.
Yeah.
If they're all doing it, why don't we?
I agree.
It doesn't really impact the business, because
It doesn't impact anybody.
who's gonna say, oh, I'm not going there because of it?
And by the way, you don't, in your numbers, you don't have like the, how many millions is that Dunkin' Donuts gonna bring us? You know, that's all meals tax coming
And
out.
so the only other
So,
factor is, you know, I know that another person in advisory brought up is that if it's a restaurant that maybe mainly people in town go to, you're kind of taxing the people in town.
Yeah, but when you
Guess
think
what?
about 0.75%
Yeah.
on what, a $60 meal or a
It's
$100
not-
meal, it's not much at all.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah, what is it, like?
So it's 75 cents on $100.
Yeah, you're not killing me, dude.
yeah. Dude, I'm sorry, if you take a look at the median income in this town, that's not gonna kill it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the average, the income, the per meal, yeah, the average income in this town is pretty high. I think, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we need to have a vote with the EDC, how we stand, I don't think advisory was asking, but I just want to bring it
I'm
up.
for it. I think it's a good
Oh,
idea.
I think it's-
Yeah.
I'd vote for
We
it.
have to, we should be doing it.
I know that
No-brainer.
the town treasurer, you know, would love to be able to add that to this.
I'd like to make a motion that Eric sends a letter to the advisory that the EDC supports this meal
I
tax.
second it.
All those in favor?
Well, hold on, wait.
What? Go ahead, well, let's go, because
I mean, so you know for a fact that it's all the.
Yes,
Oh.
of course.
Did you have some thoughts on that? I know that.
My question with you is on process, not on a meals tax. I don't really feel strongly either way, except the optics of town businesses, EDC. I mean, this thing could have its own life without us, I think, and get passed.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
my question with you is on process, not on the meals tax.
Yeah. Do you think that we should have a vote on it? Or?
Yeah, let's just second it and.
You gotta do it, it's been seconded, so now we have to
That takes
vote.
care of the process
So all in
question.
favor?
Aye.
All right. Because the town treasurer was, you know, saying that she would love to get that 50 or 60,000 a year. You know, it's free money ultimately. And so I have like, I'm gonna put it in my article presentation is the town levy compared to other towns. We're at like 90%, whereas other towns have a lot more local receipts, which that's what that would fall into is the local receipts. We're the lowest on local receipts around. You know, we really don't have much money, and state aid, we really don't have much money coming in besides taxes, and then 94% of the taxes is residential, so that's how, I have a chart that shows that, you know, so 86% of the total budget is residential. The next highest, I think, was Stowe at like 80%, and then Lancaster's in the 70s, you know, most towns are around 67% residential of the total budget. We're at 86%. So every single dollar we need, 86 cents has to come from us. You know, so anyway.
So we gotta drive that. That's the goal. Drive it at different.
And I think the point is that, so other communities have adopted it, number one. Number two, I think that the vast, I don't know this for a fact, but a good percentage of the people that come into a restaurant generally aren't residents. There might be some cases where they're residents. And I think that if you look at the economics behind it, I mean, I know that in the town of Hudson, for example, people were all up in arms initially until they found out it drives about $230,000 of additional revenue, which is probably 4 school teachers, or maybe a fireman and a couple of policemen, so.
Yeah, you just have to
You know
talk
what,
about
we
adding
start to
Yeah,
kind of
it
like
does,
put common
yeah.
sense to these
Yeah.
things.
But what
Everybody's
else is
favorite.
wrong with the metrics between us and the other towns as far as the percentage of the levy? It's not just the. meal
Personal
tax.
property tax, like business property
Yeah,
tax?
business.
Yeah, it's the same, their rate is the same as ours.
So, you know.
I'll send out, I don't know if I sent it out to this group, I might have. I
I
have
think the
it,
other thing is that, you know, and this is kind of dangerous territory, but a lot of towns, and I'm sure this town does a fairly good job, go after state grants and things of that
yeah, we're
nature.
doing, but
Yeah, I think there's plenty of opportunity.
also the economic diversity of this town lends itself to not getting much state aid.
Oh, I'm not saying that anybody did anything wrong, I'm just saying that he asked the question, how does it differ?
So yeah, so like I said, so our tax levy is 90% of the overall budget, which is much higher than everybody else.
You did send me that.
Yeah. And then the residential tax base is 94, so of that tax levy, 94% is residential, which is a lot higher than other towns. So getting this development at Forest Mill, getting the Kane property developed, getting more
That's-
industrial.
Not meal tax, that's what's gonna
Yeah.
move the needle.
Those are the
Yeah,
ones
you're
that are the
totally
ones
right.
that
I
count.
agree with
Right, but those are
Yeah.
far off, this $60,000 is a quick grab, you know?
And the difference, in I agree with you, but anytime you do infrastructure like that, then you know, you're looking at maybe additional public safety.
Yep, full-time
So
fireman.
this meals tax is really just goes right to the bottom line, whereas you start expanding the property tax and the additional properties, there's costs associated with that. It may not be $1 for $1, and I think you did the math, so
Yeah.
I think it's,
Yeah.
but the point is, it's not, you know, I think that moving the needle, you have to look at what needle.
Yeah, cottage overlay is a better investment probably because you're gonna get residential homes anyway,
All right,
so.
can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
You haven't left on that. Wow, you're in it, yes.
Yeah, so what?
You coach at the Wachusett?
I'm actually